which I
Love it.
would definitely agree with. Like everything that has that I was talking about last week that has gone under contract has
Mhm.
been 3+ months listed. Some of them
That,
4+, but that does fall in line with that. And it's the average over here is $160 per square foot, price per square foot. And that's the difference in like Lauderdale County, my area, and then driving an hour to Huntsville, like the same house can be $100,000 more. Like the average price over there is so much more than whenever you just make an hour drive.
yeah, I love it. So, does anybody think Addie didn't sound like she knew what she was talking about? Raise your hand if you think she didn't sound like she knew what she was talking about just now. You felt like you didn't. Everybody else felt like
Tony,
she knew.
Tony so
Tony, keep
helpful.
10-2, Tony, 10-2, man.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Um, Tony was talking about Facebook ads and leads,
Mhm.
and I want Addie to talk about some stuff that she's been doing literally just in the last 24 hours. If you don't
Let's hear
mind,
that.
Addie.
Let's hear
that yeah, I'll talk a little bit more since y'all just love me to talk. I'm
it.
just kidding. Yeah, so we got my Facebook ads back to running again. Thank you, Bo. And just yesterday, I tallied it up. I made 10 calls. I had probably about 6 people answer, five
Mhm.
like conversations, but three like really good, like long real estate conversations that I think that if I follow up with them consistently, I can turn those into clients. And one lady, you know, it really is in the follow up because she thought that I was this guy who was supposed to be coming to look at her house and list it for her. And she's like, I haven't heard from him. That's why I answered you. And I said, well, I would love to earn your business. She was like, if he don't call me back, I'll call you back. Well, I'm gonna call her back on Saturday. So
I love it. You're such a rock star. I
just
am not kidding.
just talk to people.
Just talk to people. I completely agree. Addie, I'm gonna put you on the spot with one more thing, and then I promise we're
Oh
gonna let you
no.
go. Okay. When did you get your license?
Last August.
Last August is when she got her license. Okay. So guys, I'm just gonna point this out. Go in and do the work. You got to roll your sleeves up and go in and do the work, right? Addie, keep it up. You're doing absolutely fantastic. I'm going to call on somebody else now, but man, I don't know if I'd want to follow you if I was on the call, right? I'd be like, I don't want to go after Addie anymore. So, but we're going to have to make somebody do it. So it might as well be RL. RL, tell everybody what you're seeing in the market and everything up in New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm seeing kind of the same thing. Prices are still up.
Mhm.
Um, on the buying side, a lot of, transactions have been falling apart. Not just me, but
Okay.
some of my colleagues due to financial situations and everything. But
Mhm.
it's, slowly picking up into a buyer's market.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fall throughs, we talk a lot about fall throughs. Oh, I'm going to let everybody in on a little secret. You got to pay attention to fall throughs, and there's some idiosyncrasies to it. There's some little pieces that you have to do a certain way in order to make sure that you're limiting fall throughs. Okay, we're not going to get into that today, but a key part of it is following up. A very important part is just you have to follow up in your transaction. People put things under contract and then just disappear. I know it blows your mind. Nobody on here would do it, but it happens. So we've got to make sure that we're not that kind of agent. Okay, so Arla, that's fantastic. So watch party up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the other part of Alabama.
I
Tell us
think
what.
I think you should make Johnny do the market since he's running a little late.
I love that. This is what we call a prime ambush. So Johnny, what are you seeing in the market, man?
Well, it's horrible. I'm thinking about getting real estate altogether.
That's why he's late. He's
It's
like, I've had it.
yeah. Uh, I think as far as inventory, we're kind of steady.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm seeing more buyers in it, and it's just a lot more activity. It's not booming, but it's headed up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I've heard that a lot lately. There is more activity of what's going on. So that's good stuff. Let's hear from Norma. Norma, are you in a place where you can talk for just a couple of seconds? Tell us about the market.
Okay, I'm in Kansas City, Johnson County. It's about the same as, last week. It depends on the location, regarding whether it'll go quickly or not. Price range, of course, anything in the 3 to 400 is going to go pretty quickly, even up to 500 in my area.
Okay.
And, but anything, above that, it's a little tough market right now. But we're still looking at 36 days on the market and
nice.
up to 45, somewhere in there, depending on the area.
That's incredible. So I'm gonna go. Thank you, Norma. I'm gonna go through really quick. Whenever I got back in real estate, I haven't been in real estate as long as Kathy has. Okay, Kathy's been in real estate. We're gonna say longer than Addie's been alive. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Oh, so, but I remember listing agreements. You doing a 180-day listing agreement, 6-month listing agreements, and they would expire. Market wouldn't absorb them, and they'd be priced right. They would be priced where it needed to be. Sometimes it took 6 months for things to sell in the area that I was in. We've become a little bit desensitized. We talk about interest rates, and we say interest rates. Oh my gosh, interest rates are almost 7, and they're this and they're that. And whenever I got in the business, it was very normal for them to be 9%. And for certainly FHA and VA were 8%. We're hovering right around 8%. There's a lot of things that impact the market as a whole. There's a lot of things that really impact how well we can do our business. There's a lot of things that impact from the market that could stop an ordinary agent. You're not an ordinary agent. I don't want it stopping you. I want you to be able to work through things and understand and educate people on what's going on. Those houses back in the day, whenever they were selling for whatever they were selling for 30 some odd years ago, I can't even imagine what they're worth right now. It's time for people to buy. It's time for some people to sell and gain their equity. And the only way you're going to know who it is and who you can help is doing exactly what Addie said, doing exactly what Tony said, doing exactly what Kathy says all the time. You have to follow up. You have to stay in touch with people. So really quick market pulse. We're going to go do a quick overview. Of course, you have access to this. Just go into the group. When you go into the group, you'll have access to it. But this talks about where mortgage rates are. Like I said, they're close to 7%. I pulled some stats from Zillow on June sales. They're up about 5.9% year over year. New listings were up about 3% year over year. Okay. And then the median sales price is about 460. Now we're going to talk about the market being local in just a second, because we all know the market is local. Here's the takeaway from today. If you don't do anything actionable from today's session, I get it. Make sure you can get access to it. When the time has come, I want you to take action. If you don't have any direct action, I get that. But you have to have this takeaway. You have enough leads already. If you are day one in the business, you can go through your cell phone and there is business to be had in your cell phone. I'm just telling you, there's business to be had in your neighborhood. There's business to be had by agents in your office that are busy, that don't have the time to follow through with something that will give you the opportunity and you can share it with them. There is absolutely those opportunities right now surrounding you. If you want to make money, you have to follow up. Who are you going to follow up with? Absolutely people that you've done that walked into open houses. Follow up with the agents in the office. When's the last time you talked to all the agents in the office just to check in with them and see if they're busy or not? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at eliminating the thought that leads is what solves everything. Instead of it, think about conversations solving everything. Think about having conversations being the way that you're actually going to make your next commission check. So a lead is just somebody raising their hand. It's a name, it's a phone number. It's just some information. I know agents in brokerages that have tens of thousands of people's contact information that have reached out to them. I know a brokerage in Wisconsin that has 110,000 people that are in their database that raised their hand that wanted information about houses. 110,000. Do you think there's opportunity in there? If you had to guess, do you think that there's a closing in there? If you had to guess, do you think that there's the chance for somebody to make six figures inside that database? All we have to do is we have to figure out what that number really looks like for you to be able to do that. And the key to that isn't about it being just having someone's contact information. It isn't about someone just raising their hand and saying, you know what, I want you to show me a house. It's about having that conversation with them. Next big part of this, whenever we're talking about having conversations with people, how many interactions do you have to have before you truly expect someone to let you see a house? Let me ask really quick. So I'm going to try to get some answers here. Norma, if you had a buyer that came into an open house, just a guess, Norma, how many times do you think you'd have to talk to that buyer in order to show them another house? Would it just be one conversation, or would it be more than that? What do you, just give me a guess how many you think that is?
Well, definitely more. Just depends on how soon they want to buy too. You know,
Great.
if they have to sell a house or what their whole situation is. But yes, definitely more than once. You got to follow up.
Absolutely. So Kathy, what about you? Take a consensus of the room. How many times do you think that you have to talk to a web lead, as an example, before you can show them a house?
Oh, a web lead would be even more than an open house, because the open house people are either looking to buy or potentially they're looking to sell, and they want to
Yep.
see if the home in the neighborhood is comparable to theirs. So, but on a web lead, I'd say 6 or 7 times at least.
Absolutely. I would agree. It's a lot, and it's a lot different. Thanks for not letting me trip you up on that question. RL, how about you? How many times do you think you need to talk to a potential buyer before they actually let you show them a house?
Probably more than 5 times, just to basically pre-approve them in a way.
Mhm.
Just to know what their needs are, their goals, to see if they're even qualified. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree. And so he just brought up a really great point. So he said to pre-qualify them. And then notice he didn't say how much house can they afford? What interest rate are they going to get? How much do they have for down payment? Is that part of pre-qualification? 100% it is. But that's not the only pre-qualification he was talking about. He was talking about, are they a real buyer? What is it that they really want? So he's talking about having conversations with them beyond just financially qualifying them. He's talking about making sure ready, willing, and able.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
I feel like that also comes with figuring out what their time frame is, and that's really going to determine, how long. If they're 6
Yes.
months out, definitely 10 plus. But until you can get that in-person meeting, before you can get in person, do a buyer's consult, and then feel comfortable to go show them a house. Because you can talk to them on the phone. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background.
That's all right.
But I can talk to them on the phone and be like, oh yeah, you're super legit. And then you meet them in person, or they don't even show up because they're not.
Right. Super legit. That's right. Yeah, I completely agree. And I love it that your dog loves real estate too. You don't ever
Yeah.
have to apologize that your dog loves real estate. So Tony, are we missing anything on that? How many times do we have to talk to somebody before they're actually going to let us see a property or let us show them a property? Are you in a place where you can talk, Tony?
No, I think it's pretty much spot on with what everybody's been saying. I've gotten a couple of these like, hey, I want to buy it this weekend. I'm like, okay, can we meet at the office tomorrow at this time? And then it goes silent.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the newer agents, the big on safety, definitely meet at the office first.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't go out. I mean, if they're not willing to come to your office, I'm willing to bet they're not worth your time to go out and show them homes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't have an office, guys, that's okay. Take them to a coffee shop, take them to a public place, go somewhere that you can meet them, that you get seen with them and other people. 100%. You could do that. Right.
And to add this, I'll add this in. Also, if you've got an affiliation with a title company or a mortgage person, and let's say you don't have a real estate office, because there are some brands that don't, you can meet at the loan officer's office, you can meet at the title office. That still gives you the protection plus the professionalism of our industry to meet there. And if you have to make a copy of something, it's right there for you to use.
Like their driver's license as an example, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's all, Tony, as always. That's great insight. Rob, what about you, Rob? How many times do you have to talk to a person? How many conversations do you have to have with them before they'll let you show them a house?
I'd say 5 is probably a good average, because sometimes it's more. Sometimes it's back when I had Zillow calls, I've had somebody go show them one house and they bought it, a few times. But I would say your average is somewhere around that. 5 is a good spot. Sometimes you talk to them forever.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for everyone to have a rule in their head that they try to talk to someone 11 times before they say, this lead is no good. 11 times. I know what you're thinking. Matt, you're crazy. I don't have time to do that 11 times. You got time to go to the bank and cash checks? Yes. Well, if you want to do that, then that's what you need to do. Just focus on that 11 number. The 11's not going to be your number in the long run. It's going to be less than that. But to start with, if you don't have this figured out, if you don't know exactly what it is, then I want you to use the 11 number. Try to reach out at least 11 times to somebody before you say the lead is no good. You're going to find out how many times you need to talk to them. You're going to know what your number is. You're going to know how many times you have to talk to them before you can show them a house, before you can get the listing appointment, before they'll sit down and do a buyer's consultation with you. You're going to know what all of that is because you're having that conversation with them. And I want you to know what that number is. And the reason why I want you to know what that number is because you can plan your business better. You can spend your time better. But the truth is we have to understand that it's multiple interactions. It's not just one interaction. Okay, here's the next thing that we have to know about follow-up. Excuse me. I love allergies. So the next thing we have to know is consumers are they're not disappearing. They're being delayed. Their time frame might not fit what our time frame is. They might be distracted. There's a lot of different reasons why they might not want to do something right now. They want to have somebody they trust that they can have conversations with, that they don't have to go around telling everyone their business. When you can get somebody to open up and really tell you what they're looking for and why they're looking and what they really need, and they can really be, for lack of a better way of putting it, vulnerable about everything, they do not want to go do that with somebody else. You have to try really hard at that point to ruin it for them to go to somebody else. Most people don't like talking about their finances, don't like talking about their wish list, don't like talking about what's going on with their mom and them, don't like talking about all these other 58 different things with everybody. They want to open up with somebody they trust, and then they don't want to have that conversation again. If they disappear after they've had that conversation, most of the time, you need to go back and look at your process because odds are there was a gap in your follow-up. We have to make sure that we're staying super consistent with them. I don't think that they're disappearing. I think they're distracted. So somebody can go online and click on one house and get one agent and click on one ad and get another agent, and click on another ad and get 4 more agents and click on whatever and get 98 different people. I completely get that. But you know what's not going to happen? Those 98 agents follow up 11 times with that person. You have to have a number and you've got to stick with that number and you got to do it. It's going to give you enough data so you can tell what that number is and isn't within 6 months or a year. And then you know how many outreaches you have to have. You know how many follow-ups you have to have. Kathy, do you want to share something with that?
Well, I've got a question. So 11 times seems like a lot.
Mhm.
What is the time frame of those 11? And what in the world do we say so that we can get over that feeling that we're bugging them?
Yep. So always go with the truth. Let me tell you what to say first. Always go with the truth. Okay. So, I told you the other day that, that I got 37 times, people trying to sell me something basically on about real estate. One of the things that came up is there was a person that said, don't ever use the words, I'm just calling to follow up, or I'm just using the words to check in. Don't ever do that. I think that's incorrect. I don't think that should be where you begin. But I do believe that there's a time and place for that. Let me give you the perfect example of that. Whoever it is that said that, if Gary Vee, does everybody know who Gary Vee is? Raise your hand if you know who Gary Vee is. If Gary Vee texted them and said, hey, I'm just checking in, give me a call when you get a second, you think that person would still be offended and go, saying checking in, stupid? You think they'd still say that? No, they wouldn't. You know what they'd do? They'd call Gary Vee back. And the reason why is because Gary Vee delivers a tremendous amount of value on the front end to people. If you want to be able to call somebody, as an example, Kathy, and say, hey, I just wanted to check in. If my first call is, hey, I was notified that you requested some information about properties that were for sale in Tuscaloosa, I wanted to make sure that you were able to access that link. When you get a couple minutes, give me a call back. If you're busy, don't worry, I'll call you back in a day or so. That's your first conversation. If your next conversation is, hey, I'm just checking in, that's incorrect. The next conversation should be, hey, I just found 4 more properties that matched similar to what you originally reached out to me for. And I'm going to follow how long it takes for the market to absorb these. If you're interested in looking at any of these 4 properties, let me know. Then the next day, can you check in? Yes. Hey, I just wanted to check in really quick and let you know one of those 4 properties went under contract. That's checking in. So your conversation, now I can have that same type of conversation with a lot of people. I can still talk about those same 4 properties with all the leads that come in off of that one ad that I'm running. You just have to have a plan for that communication. Now, Kathy, that I answered the second part first. Okay, let me go back to the first part first. First now. 45 days. If it's a brand new lead, those 11 outreaches need to happen in the first 45 days. Okay? So you're not going to, that doesn't mean day one. Okay. I think everybody knows that. We're not going to go, okay, I got a new lead. I'm hitting my 11 today, Matt, and call that person, call them and 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 call them. That's not what we're talking about. Have a cadence that you like, that you trust, that you believe in, that you can focus on, that you can execute, and run that cadence. Within 45 days, 11 touches. Okay, that's the cadence that I would use. Now, with that being said, what you say matters. When you say it matters. Are you calling them at 11 p.m. every night? Because that's the only time you want to call. You're not going to have the same success with that. Okay, you're not going to get the results that you want if that's what you're doing. You have to think all those things through. Step 1 is do the damn follow-up. That's step 1. Do it. Then start working through the rest of it. Then start figuring out the other pieces and parts. But to begin with, do the follow-up. If you're in Prime, by the way, there is a follow-up pattern that is already built out this way. All you literally do is just go attach it to the person, and when you attach it to the person, it lets you know what you're supposed to do and when you're supposed to do it, and you can use Prime Flow to execute all this. Okay, that's a different conversation though, right? But you have to get and stay in touch with people. You have to have those conversations with them.
Hey man,
Okay.
can I add something to your point?
Yeah.
This is Tracy, by the way.
Hey,
So
Tracy.
I cannot agree more to your point. Yeah. So it's just like most time consumers are not like disappearing, they're just delaying. So I have a client, a seller, that he got stuck by his current tenant. He want to sell the rental property, but the tenant won't leave. It took us we had a plan. I created a plan for this eviction, like a plan for this tenant. So we finally got the tenant leave, and I'm gonna pick up the key today. So it should take time to, but like I earned a trust along the way, and
Absolutely.
so it's just it's not easy, but it is
Tracy,
it.
great job. Great
Thank you.
job. Absolutely fantastic. Putting a plan in place and walking them through the plan on something that they're struggling with, on a tenant that's being a knucklehead. I love it. Good stuff, Tracy.
Thank you.
Yeah, way to go. Look at Ben's drinking from a water cooler. So, all right. So the next thing we're going to dig into here is staying relevant creates opportunity. It's not enough to just follow up with them and say stupid stuff. That's not going to work. That's going to have the opposite effect. Okay.
Are you sure, Matt? Hold, I got to fact check. You sure you can't just call people, say some dumb stuff, and that works? I'm just very.
I'm going to go out on a limb, Dave.
All right.
And all right. And I'm going to say, no, that's not what you can do.
We're going to have to rework their whole game plan, but okay.
Right. Yep. So, so what you say has to be valuable. Okay. There's a lot of different ways you can figure out what valuable is. Okay, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with that. It's from Chat GPT to the CRM systems that you use, all of that. There's a bunch of different places to have relevant information. You have to know where it is, and you have to be able to be consistent with it. What is it that you believe is valuable to someone? Now, is it okay if you're wrong? Yes, it's okay if you're wrong. As an example, let's say that you're going to try to reach out to them 11 times, and all 11 times you talk about permitting properties. Is that important? Yes. Is that going to hit with some people exactly the way it's supposed to? Yes. Is it a great idea? No. Can it be one of those follow-ups? Yes, absolutely. It can be one of those follow-ups. You have to have a plan for what these conversations are. You have to have a plan for what it is that you're going to say, and you have to have a plan for the relevancy, the conversations you're having that are worth having. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So here's what I know is working now whenever it comes to relevant conversations. And these are gonna always work. Okay. So one is hyperlocal market updates. So an example of a follow-up, I would say, hey Tony, three homes sold in Novi this month. The average price was this much per square foot, and they went under contract in 37 days. Thought you want to know what's happening around you. No action needed. Just keeping you in the loop, just following up, just checking in. That becomes one of that 11. That becomes one of those outreaches. I love it if you talk to them all 11. That's unrealistic. I'd love it if you have that conversation with them, but that's unrealistic. So what else? Unsolicited CMAs. I think this is a huge one. We've talked about this. We actually had a couple of Prime Lives a couple of months ago, month and a half. It's probably been 2 months ago, where we talked about how to leverage CMAs to begin conversations with people. I'm just going to throw the number out real quick, and then you can go through it. And if you want to make this part of what you do, I'd love it. Okay. Let's say that you sent out just 2 CMAs a week. I'm not talking about a 38-hour CMA that you did. I'm talking about something that takes you minutes to execute. And you send them out to either people that are in a certain neighborhood, or people that are in your sphere of influence, or people that bought and sold with you more than 24 months ago, or 18 months ago, or 36 months ago. And you just send it out to that group of people. You can fold it up in an envelope. You can put a nice note card with it and say, hey, I was going through some information. Remembered that you lived at 123 Main Street, pulled some information together about the market around you. Just thought you'd like to know if you have any questions about this. I'd love to talk. If you did that 2 times a week, let's say you only did it 50 weeks a year, That's 100 of those. Raise your hand if you think you would not get a listing from that. You'd get a listing. At least a listing. I'd be willing to bet you'd get more than that, especially when you learned how to target it. So I did a listing class probably 6 months ago. Might have been longer than that. Might have been probably is closer to a year ago. Did a class on how to get more listings. And in that class, I said, here's a letter that you can use that you can send out to a neighborhood whenever a property goes under contract. If you advertise the property, you got more leads on it than what you sold to it. You can reach out to that neighborhood and send this letter and say, hey, I was advertising this property. It's now under contract. I have 38, 58, 78, 92, 12 buyers that reached out through an ad. And so I'm reaching out to other owners in the neighborhood. Here is a CMA of what the market analysis looks like for your property. If you're interested in me introducing any buyers to your property, please let me know. What would happen if you did that? But Matt, I don't have a listing right now. Go talk to your broker. Go talk to a team leader in your office. Go talk to somebody that you're friends with in the office that does have a listing. Somebody has that opportunity for you. So unsolicited personalized CMAs. The helpful text message. Oh, hey, I saw your home come in the neighborhood, reminded me of what we were looking for. Want me to send it over? Oh, rates ticked up this week. Wanted to give you a heads up in case timing matters for you. There's three different options here. So let me tell you what happened this week. A friend of mine bought a house, reached out to me and said, hey, I want to do some painting on this house. Do you have anybody that does that paints? So I reach out to my sphere of influence, the people that I know, and I said, hey, I'm trying to get two painters together. I have one person that I've already sent the information over to him. Does anybody else have a painter that they're getting ready to XYZ? Or the painter that would help with somebody that's getting ready to XYZ? And I got two responses back. One of them was somebody that said, I can tell you who not to use. And they sent me the information and said, do not use this person. And the other one said, a friend of mine is thinking about selling the property that's on Upper Tampa Bay. Is it okay if I connect them with you? It's a $1.1 million house. So of course I told them, no, do not connect with me. I would never want to put a property on the market that's $1 million. The nerve of you actually asking me that is absolutely ridiculous. Is not quite the answer I gave. Guys, I was not trying to get business. That's not what I was doing. I was trying to help. I was trying to connect point A to point B. Make sure, big picture, make sure you continue to communicate and follow up and be helpful. And the neighborhood intelligence. We know about this one. We want to make sure that we keep things hyper local. We want to make sure that they know what's going on with the neighborhood, with the changes that they're making. Okay. Anything anybody wants to add to this? There's a little bit more here. As always, as everybody always knows, there's a little bit more to help you execute this. If you want to execute it, I'll make sure that you have access to this through the group. We're actually building something that's going to make this even smoother, more effective for you, all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you're part of the group or part of Prime Coaching, so that you'll have access and be able to, card catalog through this stuff. Oh, Ben, is there anything in the chat other than pictures of you drinking out of a water cooler that?
No, absolutely not. Literally, that is the entire chat. But there's a bunch of us having a lot of fun with making images of me drinking out of giant water bottles. So that's cool. Other than that, I can put a little bow on it if everybody's ready. It's all of you being here makes this so amazing. And don't forget that Prime Live is not just about opening the door to more opportunities. It's about closing more transactions. I was like, wait, what's it about? I think it's closing more transactions, but I'll say it anyway. We'll see you guys next time.
Sounds good.